So, Dan, it's lovely to see you today, and I'm really pleased to be able to introduce you to those people who already know me online. I'm really excited to let them find out a bit more about you and your music. So, thanks very much for joining me today. I'm prepared. I've come with my cup of tea and the best biscuit in the world. I don't know if you know this one, the Tunnocks caramel wafer.
Oh my God, they're my
Really?
favourites.
Excellent. Good news.
Yeah, I love them.
I thought it might be new for you. I wasn't sure if it was the best biscuit in the world or maybe just the best biscuit in Scotland.
It genuinely is. My mum showed them to me years ago. She's Irish, so they have them. It must be a Celt thing.
That explains. Any Welsh biscuits we need to know about?
Only the classic Welsh cake. Surely you've had a Welsh cake.
Never.
Have you ever heard of a Welsh cake?
Never, honestly.
What? Oh my God. Welsh cakes are like, I don't know, I feel like it would do them an injustice by saying they're like a flat scone, but that's kind of how you have to explain it. But they're kind of a very flat scone looking cake with mostly with raisins in them, and oh they're amazing. Whenever I go abroad I bring packs of them to give to friends.
Sounds good. I'll need to try them.
Hell yeah.
First thing I really wanted to ask you is, how's life being at the moment with the coronavirus as a musician? How are you finding things, and how is the pandemic and the lockdowns affecting you as an artist?
um in the first few months it was just nothing. It was like 3 months of doing everything that wasn't music. I was painting and making stuff, and it was nice, to be honest, in that sense. Not because you know what it's like. It's like a kind of a constant. You'll write something, you'll record it, you'll promote it, you'll tour it, then you'll write something else, then you promote it. And it's just like this circle. So it's kind of nice to have jumped off the hamster wheel for a few months. I guess that's the silver lining, really, of it. And then the past 4 or 5 months, I've been like working every day down here, making music and stuff. But it's been nice because there's been no deadlines. There's been no like, I love live shows and I love being on stage. As soon as I step on stage, you feel like it's exactly where you're meant to be, and like you're in you're in the one place in the world you're supposed to be. But then everything that comes with it, the preparing, the anxiousness beforehand, the driving, the like, I don't miss that. So, swings and roundabouts.
Cool. Sounds like you're making the most of the change in environment, I think. I've really enjoyed listening to some of your songs, and I hope you'll take this in the positive way that it's meant. It seems to me you're like an old soul in a young man's body. Like, hearing some of the songs, they just sound like they've always existed almost, and you sound so wise. It's been a real pleasure, but it'd be great for me if you would explain a wee bit like where you are on your musical journey, and maybe what brought you to where you are today.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I've always, I've always like, if I ever go to a radio station or whatever, and I haven't been there before, I'll turn up and think I'm my son or something, because they're expecting a much older man to turn up. And they're like, "Oh, you're carrying your dad's guitar. That's really nice of you." I'm like, no. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the classic, parents' collection of music, listen to it loads. I have no memories of this, but as a kid, apparently I used to pull out the spare sofa bed in the back room and pretend it was a stage and like pretend to play on it and everything. And I don't remember that at all. And I didn't do music through school or anything like that. It was always kind of a personal thing. And then went to uni to do photojournalism, dropped out after a term because I'd written a bunch of songs, and then just recorded my first EP, and it carried on from there. And it was just, thinking back, I guess it was kind of just taking bits and bobs and imitating all of those records that I'd heard when I was a kid and kind of mashing them in together to try and make my own sound. But then after a few years, I realized that my unique thing was my voice. So it was way more about the lyrics and the singing the music at that point. So it was just all about writing the songs and everything. But now it's come on to the point where I've made a lot of Americana. I've made a lot of kind of like contemporary folk and that kind of music. And the newest stuff I've made is still rooted in those places, but there's more electronic sounds based in there. This is stuff that hasn't been released yet, but that's kind of the way I'm going, and that's what I've been enjoying making and playing around with and stuff. So I guess that's kind of the quick version.
Do you record at home? Have you got a studio, or when you're talking about the electronic sounds,
Well,
is that something you're making yourself?
I've got this place. It's pretty small. Shall I try and show you without unplugging the computer? I wouldn't dare turn it more than that. I'm scared that the socket's going to come out. But there's kind of like, there's a bit of a space here, and I do now I do most of my demoing in here. Whereas before I just write stuff acoustically and go into my friend's studio and do it all from there. And it's become more and more self-reliant. Even before COVID, it was just because I had this space and it was fun to do it. I just decided, got a couple of cheap microphones and started doing demos. And then I just kind of got into that Logic rabbit hole and started enjoying it. And now I make quite a lot here. And on the new songs, something that I've never done before is, I think, all but one of the demo vocals are the final vocals, and there's loads of like guitar overdubs and everything that were done in this room, so which I think is really cool. There's a massive oak tree outside, and on the end of one of the songs, it was in the evening, and you can hear all the birds in the tree singing, and decided to leave it in because it was just
lovely. That sounds great. I'd just been doing through the lockdown, I took a month and did a Logic course to try and refresh myself on how things actually work. So I'm quite inspired hearing your achievements there, and maybe I can follow in your footsteps sometime soon.
Oh, I recommend it so much. In the beginning, it was just like an absolute minefield, and I was so scared of it. I'd open it up because Logic is a terrible name for it because it's so illogical. There's like bits where it shouldn't be, and it's just like, it just doesn't make sense. But it was funny. I kind of over lockdown, a friend and I decided to record some of our favorite songs as covers and video them and put them out just for a laugh, but also for ourselves to try and learn more about Logic. And it just came to this point where it suddenly stopped being hard. I don't know why. I was just doing it so much, and it suddenly just started making sense. And what it felt like is that once you've got the bare basics, then everything just starts falling into place. That's what it felt like. So yeah, it was good.
Cool. I live in hope. Can you tell me, have you got a kind of usual songwriting process? Would you, do you regularly work in the same way, or are you quite different per song, how you approach things? What's your usual technique?
And I have so many notebooks, just full of lyrics. And I have a small one that I carry around with me. And songs normally start off with a line or a word from one of those books, and then just make it up as I go along. But these new songs, like some of them were made in the studio as we were writing them. So it's kind of changed. It has over the past year, 2 years. I was looking at kind of my back catalogue so far and thinking, I'm confident that I can write songs like that now. I'm confident that if I had to write a 100% Americana album or a 100% folk album, I'm confident it wouldn't suck if I had to do that. So I wanted to like stretch myself again. I wanted to have that like beginner's feeling again, where I was kind of a bit lost and just do new things by accident. That's kind of why I jumped into Logic so heavily, and I've started like trying to write songs on the organ to start them off, and like other things that I just have no clue about, because you know what it's like when you try something new and you've got that kind of almost beginner's luck. You don't know how to fail on it. You've never learned how to fail on it. So
That sounds really interesting. It's interesting for me because it's very close to kind of, I'm not so organised as having a notebook, though I do buy notebooks a lot, but I tend to write on scraps of paper here and there, and I have a massive big tub, and then it's finding the time to then explore all the words and the ideas that are sitting in the tub kind of thing. But
That's cool. Like a lucky dip bin. That's so cool.
yeah. But I love writing on instruments that I can't really play. I think for me, it kind of makes you make choices that because you don't know what you're doing on the instrument, you maybe make musical choices that you wouldn't make on an instrument where you're really familiar with it. So even like doing a different tuning on the guitar for me is a really great starting point because then I don't know what chords I'm choosing and that kind of thing. I always find that exciting.
Yeah, totally. Because JP and I were talking about it, and it's kind of that, you'll sit down with a guitar, for instance, and no matter how hard you try, we're creatures of comfort, and you'll go to the same chord and you'll go to the same voicing and all that sort of thing. It makes a huge difference trying something different that you don't know.
How do you feel about collaboration? Have you done much songwriting collaboration with others?
Up until 2018, I hadn't done any like songwriting. I'd done a lot of kind of production collaboration, but not songwriting. And then 2 songs on my first album were co-written with somebody else, which scared me actually, because I was always like, oh, I write all my own songs and it's all me, 100% me. And then just like realized the joy of it really, and how almost all of my favorite songs have 2 writers on them or more, and like all the classics, and just the pure joy of sitting down and making something with somebody else instead of like, as a songwriter or musician, you kind of just wither away in your own space and like you can write 20 songs and not know if any of them are good or anything. But having somebody else in the room, you play something or say something or sing a melody and they're like, ooh, what's that? And you're like, okay, that must be good. We'll stick with that. And then having them throw ideas when you're stuck, just so much more fun. So all of my new songs, there's 4 on this new EP, and in some capacity, I've worked with somebody else on part of them just for the fun of it. And it's
When's your EP? Have you got a release date already set, or?
That's a big question. I have no idea. I would like, hopefully it would have been out by now. That was kind of the plan, but it's kind of, I haven't been able to, and trying to find a label to put it out, like a suitable label, hopefully soon, but I don't want to rush it because I really believe in these songs. They're definitely a slight step away from what I've been doing, and I'm really excited about them. So I want to do them as much justice as I can. And I've been kind of making a couple of videos for it. I had a video shot in Mexico a couple of days ago for one of the songs. I just found somebody that I followed on Instagram for a long time. Yeah, she's a photographer and illustrator and artist, and she posted on her story that she's originally from Mexico, and she was going back to Mexico with a friend from California just to do some photo shoots and all that sort of stuff. And she posted a story saying that her friend was looking for new clients, and I don't want to ruin the video, but she makes videos, she's in videos, and yeah, so I DM'd her on Instagram straight away and was like, I saw that you're taking new things. I saw on Thingy's story. Would you be up for it? Sent her the song and she loved it. And so they shot it at sunrise in Mexico. And I've actually, just before we hopped on, I got an email with the video. So I'm hoping it's good. I'm sure it is.
Super exciting. It sounds amazing. Oh well, I'll look forward to seeing that when it's shared. You mentioned about photography and also painting. Is there a kind of pivotal moment in your life that you can remember when you kind of made a firm decision? I'm going to do this. I'm going to pursue a career as a professional musician. And is there anything else you might have been, or do you ever think you've got a parallel life somewhere else?
Yeah, do you know what's weird? People who I went to school with always, in the beginning, were kind of like, we had no idea, you never played music in school. But all the way through school, there was just something in the back of my head just saying, that's what you're going to do. there's no point stressing about it or doing classes because you're going to do it anyway. It was really strange. I don't know why. I did photography and fine art and something else. I can't remember. A level, I did do music, but it was just always a thing. I think I grew up around music so much. Neither of my parents were professional musicians. My dad just loved listening to music. My mum has the most beautiful voice and plays guitar, or used to play guitar. And I think that all of the defining moments of joy in my childhood had music in them. So in my head, it was just like, totally makes sense. Why would you not surround yourself with that? And at a really young age, I was kind of like, how can I make as many people happy as physically possible in one go? And I was like, oh, just play a stadium. Little did I know that's quite hard to do at the time. But that was like the defining moment, really. And I was pretty young, and I was just like, that's the way to go. You can have fun and you can do something good at the same time. So
stadiums, I can appreciate stadiums, that's quite hard to achieve perhaps, but what do you think are the biggest challenges facing you as a musician at the moment, and all musicians really, and are there any solutions that you can see or ways of working around these challenges just now?
I think like anything else, musicians, like, we're just a community, I think, and like everything that's happening is like made a lot of people realize, including me, that like we need to kind of be a bit smaller. Like, we need to focus on what's around us and the people that surround us and nurture that. As we've kind of gone this is a terrible place to say this, but we've kind of gone to global, but I mean in the sense that to the detriment of like supporting other artists. Or have I frozen? You frozen?
You were kind of frozen for a wee bit, but then you seem to be back. Am I frozen? Doing the frozen dance.
Oh, am I back?
You're back.
No, you were. You're good now. You're good now. Where did I get to? Did you hear what I said?
You said we need to be smaller. It was cool though, because your hand kind of froze on a small moment.
No, I was kind of saying, like, I said this is a terrible place to say this, but we've gone too global. But it's not. This is not what I mean. What I mean is, like, I think a lot of people are thinking like I was when I was younger. I was like, I want to play a stadium, or like, I want to do this, and then forgetting about all the other stuff around them, and like the other musicians around them, and the people that have helped them, and the people that they could help. And like, realistically, that's what it's all about. And like, playing music with other people, like I was saying, deciding to collaborate more and all that sort of thing. And it's just healthier, I think, and more sustainable, because it doesn't mean that if you're helping and working within your community that you're not, you're going to know more people, and they're going to know somebody somewhere else where you want to go. But it's just things are just so big, aren't they? I think we've got a bit too I don't know what the word is, but you understand. But I don't know. I think community is the answer. Sorry, I was trying to think of your original question.
That's all good. I wanted to say that I really enjoyed the mahogany session that you did. It's gorgeous, not only gorgeous sounding, but gorgeous to look at. And I wanted to ask you, how did that come about? And did you film that yourself? Like, such a beautiful location, everything about it was just like total peace. So well done.
I wish I'd filmed that myself. I'd make a lot of those videos if I'd filmed that myself. That mahogany had been going for years, and when I first started, I used to watch all my favorite musicians do mahogany sessions, and I was like, one day I'm going to do a mahogany session, and I'll have made it. And you look back, and they've done some huge artists, like they've had like Billie Eilish and Jack Johnson and Michael Kiwanuka, like so many people have done them, and their whole thing is that it's the most beautiful video in the most beautiful setting they can find. And we were so lucky the day that I did it. It was in this pottery studio in London somewhere, and Scandi House was the pottery studio. And like the guys walked in, the team walked in, and we're just like, I think this is the nicest venue we've had all year. It's just so beautiful. And there was old glass windows, well, you saw them floor to ceiling, and the light in the room was just like the ultimate art studio light. It was just so beautiful. And there was kind of like fine dust floating around because it was a pottery studio, and it just made everything like really beautiful. And yeah, it's mad. The way it came around is that they posted a thing on their Instagram saying, what song should we put on our Sunday playlist or something like that. You know, we're looking for new music. And my partner, she just wrote Third Eye Blind down Bettridge in the comment box. And then like the following week, they emailed me and said, do you want to do a mahogany session? And I was like, you are kidding me. So yeah, she's my ultimate hype woman. And it worked out very well. And the whole team were great. And the videos are amazing. They also do videos called covers. And they were doing a whole anniversary version of videos for Dolly Parton. There was a big Dolly Parton anniversary last year, I think, sometime that. Maybe for an album or maybe a career milestone. And they asked a whole bunch of people who'd done videos to come and do a Dolly song. And it ended up being like my favorite cover. I chose The Bargain Store and completely changed it. Like, it doesn't sound anything like the original song. But yeah, their videos are epic.
That's been a total discovery for me through you. I'd never heard of them, and I'm looking forward, but I just thought that was absolutely stunning. What a beautiful, beautiful music video, really.
Yeah, they've nailed it.
I see that you have a camper van, and I dream of owning a camper van. Can you tell me a bit about it? How long have you had it? How much has it changed your life?
Actually, do you know what? I don't. A friend of mine does, and probably four or 5 weeks ago, I didn't know. Rented a camper van off him. He heard my music. He's now a great friend. He loves my music, and we talk quite a lot. He's currently got his ear to the ground trying to find me one that's affordable because I have a very, very small budget. So I won't be getting one for a while. But yeah, we were just lucky enough to have it for a short while, and it was just so nice, the freedom of it, and in fact you can just go away whenever. And I'm thinking long-term touring eventually, and just all that kind of thing. Yeah, so yeah, I'm jealous of Instagram me, because I did look back at one of the pictures and I was like, this totally looks like me, like this is mine. I should edit it and put a disclaimer just being like, by the way guys, this isn't mine, because I posted another picture with it, and underneath I said, thanks to Jim Bob's buses, because this is not mine. But yeah, he's so nice. He's a very successful entrepreneur. He runs makes like wood burning stoves and stuff. But he's just a hippie. He's a full-on hippie. And he bought his first VW a few years back, started renting it out to friends, and then it just got out of hand and he couldn't let him go. But I won't go on too much about that, but yeah.
And in some levels, I'm happy that you don't have a camper van, because maybe you could ask your pal to look out for one for me too while he's looking for you. That'd be great. Affordable would be ideal. So Dan, thanks so much. It's been really nice talking to you. And as I say, I love your music. I'm so pleased that you discovered it. It's been great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, and thanks for your great questions.